So at that time, I had a shock, a little shock, emotional shock, because I could not spend much time with my dad. And I was not hoping or expecting him to die so soon. The kind of healthcare system we have in America is very different than India. In India, still we have a chalta hai type of attitude. And I had a feeling that, now this is the moment India is building up. This is going to be India's era in next 10 years, 20 years. They just they don't realize that they are breaking the law. That's the thing. I had all kind of bad experience in the beginning. Neighbors went against me. Some of the employees whom I fired, they went against me. I had to literally go to police stations. India is not going to be US even next 20 years, I can tell you. We will not even close to be like Singapore or any European country. So just do not expect that. Work with people. Communication is the key. You cannot live in silos, just like in you are kind of habitual of. Because if you start living in silos, just like you were living in US, you would continue to have this problem. Nobody damn care a shit about NRIs in India, I can tell you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Desi Return. Today, I'm really excited to have Mr. Kunal on our show. Meet Mr. Kunal, who spent close to 22 years in US and moved back to India, and he has been living in India for the last 1 year. Let's dive in and understand the story, the journey, and what made Mr. Kunal to move to India and how is the life. With that, welcome Mr. Kunal to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Avinash. No, excited to be on your show.
Great. Thanks a lot. So let's start a bit about your background. How was the life in US? And then we can take it from there.
Well, I had a great life in US because I was entrepreneur throughout my life. I had established three businesses there and a very good family. My both kids are in college. Lived an American dream. I moved there in 2003, just like anybody else. Filed my H1 first and then gradually started my own company. We were in a physician space because the area where I moved in, it was in Florida, where there is a huge population of Indian physicians and even other physicians, because largely the population is the retired people who live there. So actually, I was lucky enough to find my first investor there. So that was the another reason when I moved there, we had a small investor into my company and we started a small company at that time. I ran a company for 22 years. Then I started another company in India, which was the kind of offshore outfit of that company. We had 400 employees at that time until actually last year. Um, and then I sold the company. So this is the journey of professional, but pretty much from family life, Florida, it's like Mumbai, the temperature. So we were very comfortable in Florida, in Tampa. Life was very good. Had parents. My father died in 2015. So at that time, I had a shock, a little shock, emotional shock, because I could not spend much time with my dad. And I was not hoping or expecting him to die so soon. Um, he died out of heart attack, and the whole experience I went through at that time with the hospitals in India was not very positive. So that gave me a notion that, I don't want to have that risk with my mom. When my father died, he was 74. My mom was 60 at that time, very young.
Yeah.
And then later on, I realized my mom, she has some kind of, blood cancer is a popular language. We call it CML. So it took her almost 10 years to continue on the medication for CML. I kept coming, going in every, possible way, 6 months or 4 months. But I think at that time, I realized it's India's calling is coming to my mind. And I'm the only son. I have my sister who lives here in Jaipur, but I took it as my personal responsibility to look after my mom. So when almost like 10 years passed by in 23, I was at a point, both the kids went to college, almost empty nesters, me and my wife. So and then I got another surprise. My mother got Parkinson's. She diagnosed with a huge, very rare kind of Parkinson's. It's called Corti syndrome, CBS. And in that Parkinson's, what happened? Your half of the body got disabled,
Wow.
and it was declining very fast. So little did I realize, within 3 months she got paralysis, like she got half paralyzed. I she came to she came to United States, lived with us like for a few months, and I took her to a neurologist there, my friend. He said, "This is rare. I don't know, Kunal, what to say." And since I saw my father died in my absence, I didn't want to have her go through that kind of trauma. And that time, that was the time I decided that, I'm going to move no matter whether I have to hire a nurse at that time or not for my mom. And she's young. She was like 68 at that time, so 69-year-old now. I didn't want her to feel like, what happened. It's not about uh, the luxury you can provide your parents. It's not that you can hire a nurse, you can hire maid servants. It's more than that. It's the confidence you have to develop amongst them that you are there to
Yeah.
look after them, and that was the main reason. I said I'm going back to India no matter what happens to my business, my family life, my kids, and everybody else was a second priority for me. At that time, it was just my mom. So that was the main reason.
Got it. No, thanks a lot for sharing that. So sounds like a successful career. Kids are kind of in the college by
Yeah,
themselves,
yeah. Oh, they go
independent.
to a premium college. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I
I
think,
had a dream life. I have no complaints.
yeah,
Extremely, I am US citizen,
yeah.
extremely dream life, American dream. Um, I could have become a billionaire easily if I would stay another 10 years there. But hey,
Yes. Life is not all about money, right? I think you don't want to
yeah,
have a regrets. Yeah.
yeah.
So let's talk a little bit. I think I understand, I think, the reasons for moving back. And so you kind of gave an indication on the family life. So has you and your wife moved back together?
No, 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 it's just me. She's still there. Yeah.
Okay. So, and it's been a year since you moved
Yeah,
back.
it's
Okay.
here. Yeah.
Got
My
it.
kids are in Washington, D.C., and I'm here with me, myself, my dog. He's barking behind. And that's another thing, another change in my life, because when you feel you become lonely, you need something. And we never had a dog in our home. My kids always complained that you never had a dog when we wanted it.
Yeah.
Now you become feeling lonely. Now you are having a dog. So it was such a funny thing. My daughter stopped talking to me for months and months. Like, you did not buy a dog for me. Bought a dog for yourself. And now she sees more pictures than me of dog on Facebook and Instagram because she loves her. I mean, they haven't traveled in last 1 year, uh, but that's how it is.
Got it.
Some,
Yeah. So how are things with mom? I mean, I think, definitely, as you mentioned, being there with
yeah,
her, being the
see,
person.
I have this, very peculiar kind of situation when we talk about the hospital industry in India, health. And since I was into healthcare in US, so it was always a priority for me that she gets the best healthcare possible. And since I come from the healthcare background, I take her to the best physician. And Indians are great physicians, I can tell you. I have dealt with them all my life. Back in the United States, every fourth American doctor is an Indian.
Yep.
So they have great knowledge, wisdom. They are ready to adopt new things, technological savvy. So they understand. But the kind of healthcare system we have in America is very different than India. In India, still we have a chalta hai type of attitude. Now it's very easy to listen this. Oh, यहाँ पे crowd ही इतना है, हम हर 2 मिनट में एक पेशेंट देखते हैं, 100 पेशेंट देखते हैं. अरे भाई मत देखो, और भी तो हॉस्पिटल हैं. ऐसा तो नहीं है कि हर हॉस्पिटल में भीड़ है.
Yeah.
But you want to see more patients, you want to have more people. That's why you see it. It's better. So it's basically what I call it a chaos. It's a controlled chaos. It's poorly organized in India, especially healthcare market. No matter what hospital you go, my friend owns the hospital. So I started taking my mom there. Of course, I didn't have to go through all the bureaucratic things and hurdles and waiting in the line and queue and all. But the doctors are very good. Okay, they have a knowledge, they have understanding, they are ready to help. But let me tell you, the difference is very simple. How you treat your patients in US is very different than how they treat here in India. The protocols are different. Medicines may be same, but they here in India, they don't give you a firm picture like this is what it is probably looks like and this is going to happen. In US, I always had this like whenever I had a healthcare emergency or anything, I was like very confident that I'm in safe hands. I don't get that feeling here in India. That is the
Mm.
biggest difference. That
Yeah.
certainty part, you have full confidence in the system. And then on the top of it, getting the prescription done, going to the pharmacy, everywhere there is a bureaucratic hurdle. And especially if a patient like my mom is on a government scheme, Ayushman Bharat, because my father was MLA. So she got inherited all of his perks. And she got free healthcare card. But like here, the prescription they gave you for 1 month, and then now she is homebound.
Mm.
So we have to put her on the chair, on the wheelchair, take her to the hospital, put it in a queue for an hour or two to see the doctor. When doctor sometimes see it, doesn't see it, and only the doctor can write the prescription. So these are very like it takes half a day just to write a one stupid prescription, which is the same medicine every month.
Yeah.
So it's a very like unorganized and a lengthy process, and especially country like India cannot afford that
Yeah.
because we have so many patients. So it's better to have an efficient system. Okay, go in, come out, come in, go out. Take a prescription, electronic prescription done. Like if it would be a US type of situation, we could handle billions of people without any problem.
Yeah. Cool. So maybe let's talk a little bit about the planning, right? I think you kind of mentioned about exiting on a company on a professional side, kids are out. So I think, you have the situation with mom, where she was diagnosed. There is a timing that you have to make it happen irrespective of the things. So if you can talk a little bit about the planning, like, when you started planning for it, how long it took, and then when the actual move happened, I think that would be very helpful.
So I didn't plan it all, as I said, because my situation was I was not ready for it.
Hmm.
I was hoping another couple of years and then, do it a much better plan. I still have a home back in US.
Yeah.
I don't go there, but I still have a home. I have a boat there sitting there. Wanted to sell it, could not sell it. Had a car, could not sell it. Somebody else sold it later on. So I still have strings attached, but you are right. The planning people who move finally, and especially largely those who are not entrepreneurs and those who are into the jobs, they probably have things which they can completely untie the strings and move. I still have some strings attached. That's so like I didn't move my 401k. A lot of people try to move their 401k. I didn't have to close my bank accounts. I still have the bank account. So I'm physically moved here. My heart still stays there because some of the things which I'm still doing is as far as the business is concerned. So I still work during the night because it's a US hours.
Yeah.
Um, as far as the planning, no planning was done. The only planning was done is putting the stuff which I was using on everyday basis on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and just sold whatever I could sell,
Yeah.
it's something like that.
Got
But
it.
other than that, yeah, probably I just kind of packed my bags and just moved.
Yeah.
Uh, in the beginning, I took 2 or 3 trips every 3 months or 4 months, and then I brought other stuff. I still have a home there, so
Yeah.
a lot of stuff is still sitting there.
Understood. So how do you see, I mean, based on where you are with the situation, like, and again, if you're open to share, like looking ahead, right? I think 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road, do you see yourself, like moving back or staying here, spending time across, or I'm just curious if
So
you.
I had two purposes. Say, I always tell people the purpose has to be very defined.
Yes.
Planning may not be defined, but the purpose has to be absolutely clear in my mind.
Yeah.
When I saw my mother's health condition, I said, there is no point I'm going to live or continue live in US. Second, I was fortunate enough to meet Mr. Modi in Washington, D.C. And my father had a political background, social background. I had a little bit of inclination that once I turn 50, I'm going to give back to my motherland in some way. So I had about 30 seconds, 1 minute conversation with him, and he kind of pushed me and inspired me because he knew my father. So he saw the picture. I wrote a book on my dad. He saw that. And um, he said, "What are you doing here? There is nothing here. The movement is in India. A moment, this is the moment you should be in India. Adventure is in India." And that just 30-second conversation hit me so hard because I was connected with a lot of Indian community there, and I had a feeling that now this is the moment India is building up. This is going to be India's era in next 10 years, 20 years. So these are the two main reasons.
Got
One was absolutely sure that India is going to be my next home because my mother has a critical condition, but it is not a condition where she will die like tomorrow. She would continue to live, but she would have a life of a disabled person, or if I stay, probably she could be better.
Yeah.
So for me, there is no going back. Number one, to answer your question. Number two, what else? If just, I cannot be just a senior caretaker for my mom, have to do some other things. So one thing which is very close to me is giving back. What can you do socially? People who are not financially kind of secure or safe, they probably find jobs. But I did not have to do that. I was lucky enough to have my financial side secure.
Yeah.
So I said, well, whatever I need just to eat on daily basis, if that is covered, I'm fine. I
Yeah.
don't have to run after money. So I decided to, run around, talk to politicians, talk to bureaucrats. It was like 1 year was crazy.
Okay.
People like to enjoy you, have your company, have a drinks with you because they see you are an NRI, you have a different side of stories, and you like, that kind of, it's kind of elite company they look for. But then eventually you find it's just a waste of time. Most people, they just talk here in India. Very few people literally follow up what they say, they do, they mean it.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. You will find that difference. And sometimes you're like, ooh, what's happening? You just don't want to be a part of it. People will say big things, they will do big talks, but in actually, really, there's no reality. So that happened for almost 1 year. I could figure it out. And then finally, I decided to kind of, I sit down again and I have a team here who still works for me. So that what we can do. And I said, well, this is my plan. I want to give back to socially. I want to do something in education because I see education needs a lot of everything comes down to that because that is the source of development in any country, and especially when you see it in the United States. You see the difference between your kids and yourself, right? How they grow up and how I could see it, like their mental, intellectual, they are much, they have, much better idea of this world. When we were growing up, we have no idea. So I could see the difference and I see why can't we create the same opportunity for kids here in India? You
Yeah.
can, because in India, these kids are very smart, just like we were very smart. We had no backing, no thing. We still went all the ways, से कहते हैं सात समुंदर पार गए वहां भी सक्सेस मिली तो यहाँ पे तो कुछ भी नहीं है सिचुएशन इज सेम जिस तरह के स्कूलों में हम पढ़े हैं अभी भी वही स्कूल चल रहे हैं नथिंग चेंज इन इंडियन थिंग except the population. Say they have the same resources. Maybe they have a computer lab which never functions. Only one computer was working. And that computer also has only data entry facility which they need to run their school. Now think about it in a government school where there should be a 20, 25 computer labs, only one functioning computer. Their roof has a leak, AC doesn't work, and there is a teacher sitting there who makes close to, they said 20 lakh rupees a year salary, which is a very good salary. In our time, our teachers used to make 20,000 rupees a year probably. So that change has come. But other than that, the outcome of the education is the same. It is extremely, extremely poor condition these kids are.
Got
So these are the opportunities. Socially, India is still very far behind. I'm not talking about elite India.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
even. I'm just talking about what's happening in the villages. What's
Understood.
happening with 60%, 70% of the populations, maybe 80% of the population who is Aam Janta. People are still dying on the road.
Yeah.
I saw people, just today, I think somebody posted on our Indian expert group, the whole family wiped away in an accident. We still don't see traffic inspectors. They are called traffic inspectors, but they don't stop anyone.
Yeah.
They have no control over crowd.
Yeah.
People still have, chaotic way of driving, and they don't even feel bad.
Yeah.
They don't even feel sorry at all. They are, I still don't understand why the hell in India the roads are big now, why a person will come from the opposite side. I still could not figure it out. What difference will it make if he takes another 100 feet, 200 feet, another
Very good
side
turn.
lane
Yeah.
and follow the law? But they just don't do, they don't realize that they are breaking the law. That's the thing. They
Yes.
don't even realize they are breaking the law. So sometimes, I had to literally stop people on red light along with me. I was standing on the red light, the other person is crossing. I literally had to yell on him. I said, why you are doing this? And he did not even realize it's wrong.
Yeah.
So yes, problems are there, things are
Yes.
there. Life will become a little uncomfortable, but hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Okay. So
Um,
on the same lines, I think you kind of made it very clear, right? The purpose has to be very crystal clear to navigate these challenges. So I think, for you, like someone who spent more than a couple of decades in abroad, and life is much more smoother there, and you don't have to deal with some of the challenges that you have explained, but you are clear with your purpose. So how are you able to mitigate these, you know, like people
I
talk, big
I
talk, people don't follow the rules, some of these things, how are you navigating through them, or any tips and tricks to other fellow NRIs? Yes, it's not always a green, I mean, everything is perfect place. You have to navigate some challenges. So anything that you can share from your own journey on how you are dealing with those things.
See, I tell you, I have an old home where my mom used to live, and everybody who's 20, 25 years away in India, it's very common. Your neighbors sometimes either become very good or your neighbors are like your second home. I grew up in that neighborhood, but over a period of time, now they know there is an old woman living in a home. They started having different kind of motivation for their love and their pamper towards my mom. And they think, these are old homes, had no papers, nothing in some kind of, religious community. And you see everywhere people have kind of encroached. So we used to have a space for a truck to pass by through our community. Now we don't even have enough space for a car. So everything bothers you when you go enter, and then when you try to make a change, they think you are the only krantikari, and you don't need to be a krantikari. They don't like Krantikari. They may like a stupid leader who will come and do their cleaning and who will do and pamper their ego. But they don't like a person who would say the right things. That's the culture here. So it took me some time. Even I had to go to the police station a few times. I had all kind of bad experience in the beginning. Neighbors went against me. Some of the employees whom I fired, they went against me. I had to literally go to police stations, bribe some of the police guys to get just the shit away from me. And five, six attorneys I had to deal with. Everything was a mess. If there would be a person, other than myself, he would just pack the bags and run away like next 2 months. And a lot of people told me the same thing when I was moving. A lot of my friends said to me, "You would not survive for more than 6 months, we are telling you." It would be that you would bring your mom here and you would live here, which was true. The kind of condition I had, it was like
Yeah.
crazy because everybody was trying to just think that he came after 22 years, he should not be here. They made a public statements. You are a US citizen. What are you doing here socially?
Yeah.
And I don't know how to handle those things. And I just stand firm. I said, well, this is my motherland. This is my mother's home. I have all the rights just like you. It doesn't matter anything. If I have a US passport, doesn't mean that I don't belong to this country.
Yeah.
I mean, people can say whatever the crazy things they want to say, but you have to do what you have to do.
Yeah. For sure. I know. I mean, I think especially like the way you explain the things that you have to go through, I think
Yeah,
the main purpose is so clear to you. You are navigating all these immense
absolutely.
challenges.
I was lucky enough. I was just blessed enough that at least I had some budget to allocate for this bullshit. I kept I'm a business guy,
Yeah.
right? So what I budgeted when you were talking about the planning, I budgeted everything in the beginning. That I did that, okay, if I need a good car, this is going to cost me this.
Yeah.
And some people, what they do is, I know a lot of friends, so I call it learning, unlearning, and then relearning.
Relearning. Yeah.
So the same thing which you unlearn, now you have to learn. So what I did is that I did the planning that how I'm going to budget wise allocate my dollars for what purpose so that it can give me peaceful life. Like maids, servants, driver, what I can do myself and what I can't do myself. Um, Cleanliness. Now, cleanliness in home is really a big deal. And it is a big deal because what happens if it is because I mean you lived in US. I mean cleanliness is a big deal. We never
Yes.
see dust. We don't see why things are dirty. Here you want the cleaner will come one time and he will say, if I say why the things are dirty by evening, I'll clean tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh, why can't you clean the same time when it becomes dirty?
Yeah.
The whole day, if the dishes are not done, why the dishes are not done? Then no, I will do it tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
The maid come two times. Well, you do the dishes two times. But it's just like people have their own way of doing the thing. So that was another challenge for me to train everybody, all of my staff, maids, servants, cleaners, drivers, everybody the way I wanted.
Yep.
And because I did not have a language barrier, I speak and understand Hindi very well.
Yeah.
So I sit down with everybody. I still have a big white wall with a board, and I wrote their roles and responsibilities. This is the role of a driver. This is the time maid supposed to come. This is the kind of breakfast she has to make. Like it took me almost 6 months to change her habit, not to use so much oil in our food.
Yeah.
So I had to literally give her like small packets of, and then one time the oil is finished. I didn't order it for 6 months. I said, you try to find a way to make sabji without oil because otherwise you're going to blow both of us.
Yeah.
So
Cool. So maybe switching gears a little bit, you as an entrepreneur, right? I think someone who has a successful entrepreneur in US and had a company here in India. I wanted to understand maybe some insights, some experience. People want to do their own entrepreneur journey after moving to India. Anything that you can share, like as an advice or insights for someone who are thinking along those lines.
So those who have extremely good experience in US, and if you have developed some relationship for potential clients, my suggestion, keep and nurture those relationships. I send one email out every month to all my contacts in US just to say hi, hello. How are you doing? How's it going? People don't check social media, Facebook quite often, but they do check their emails. The purpose is I want to be in touch with them. We might have 10,000 miles away I'm sitting, but the internet is the most underrated tool we have, I can tell you. We can really use, this is the power of internet right now in India. This is change. In 20 years back, the internet was really pathetic in India. Now, internet is as good as we have in US. So that's one of the best things I found. There, let's talk about the good things now in India. So internet was one of that. Amazon was the second thing which I really liked. So by using that kind of, I stayed in touch with my clients, and because I had a company here already, so starting another company is not a problem for me, because what I did at that time without having a wisdom and experience, now at least I have a 20 years of experience. So I can do the same thing in a much better way. So I had that confidence. So anybody who are on their H1 jobs or any other jobs on green card, whatever you did in US with the best of your abilities, you would find plenty of opportunities around that kind of your side. Whether you worked in SAP, I know a couple of my friends, they came back and created a huge global company in SAP, have 3,000 SAP engineers working for them. So it's not just me. A lot of people have a lot of good success story. This is the best combination. You lived in US for 20 years. You know how to navigate the US market. India is a pool of good talent. You will find plenty of engineering colleges. Pick up a nice talent, create a product service which service US clients. You know how to, everything is on internet now, whether you go for an accounting system, QuickBooks, MailChimp, email CRM, HubSpot, everything is all online. You really do not need physically to be in US to run a business out of US. So it's very simple. It's just you have to have a mindset that no, I can do the same thing what I did in US just sitting here.
Got it. Yeah. No, thanks. Is there any topic that we haven't covered that you want to bring up, or any advice for the future aspirants who are thinking about moving to India?
Again, as I said, the purpose has to be very clear. Don't get bothered by these small things. India is not going to be US in the next 20 years, I can tell you. We will not even close to be like Singapore or any European country. So just do not expect that. Try to improve people surroundings around you, like what you can do.
Yeah.
Focus on that. Not don't expect anything from people. If you go out and expect anything from people, nothing will happen. Only thing you can accomplish probably by having some kind of jugaad in India, have bankers at your side, have find some good attorney advice, good attorneys, develop two or three good friendship, people who are genuinely there to support you and help you. Other than that, be safe. In India, the problem is don't make enemies. You cannot trust. I mean, there is a law system is there. So like I had some situations where I had to literally call the police and they showed up. So the police has become better over a period of time. At least, you don't have to worry about that you can lose your life. But just be safe. You don't have to be a revolutionary or krantikari and putting your nose into every damn thing which is happening around you, which you don't like.
Yeah.
I mean, those things will happen. Seek your priorities. Like if you live in a good community which has a homeowners association, try to work with them. Try to work with people in India, because not everything is legally as good as US. You cannot call the cops for everything. Work with people. Communication is the key. You cannot live in silos, just like in you are kind of habitual of. Because if you start living in silos, just like you were living in US, you would continue to have this problem. You would never. So, जैसा देश वैसा भेष.
Yeah. Great. No, thanks a lot for that. So maybe a couple of quick questions that I have that I want to get your input. So what's one thing you wish you knew before moving back to India?
Legal system. I wish that came as a surprise. I didn't have any idea how police functions here. The basic laws, like why FIR nowadays, it is mandatory to have, it's not only mandatory, it's like either you know the police commissioner or you know somebody senior, or you need a lawyer to get even your FIR, you know. So those are the things like it's change. Um, And then you don't want to deal with somebody who's like um, policeman, a local constable would never understand your plight. Let
Mm.
me tell you, as an NRI. For him, you're just like a normally citizen, whoever he's around. So if you don't like his way of handling you, this is how it is going to be. Either you know the police commissioner, you know the top man in police, whom you can call and get the things done for you. If you don't, just stay away.
Yeah. Okay. So what's the biggest myth that NRIs have about moving to India?
The biggest miss is they think they are going to be VIPs and people will treat them with a lot of respect without even asking. No, it doesn't happen. Nobody damn care a shit about NRIs in India, I can tell you. Maybe your driver, your mates, your servants, people who will make some money or tips from you because you earn in dollars, you spend money in rupees. Or maybe the bankers because they want to have a foreign remittance. But other than that, they are the only people who are going to love you. Your bankers, your servants, your mates, because you're tipping them. Other than that, nobody is going to love you, I can tell you.
Yeah.
You're moving with a purpose, stay with that purpose. And then if you can develop a friendship, it's your personal PR.
Yeah.
Don't show people that you are an NRI, no matter. They don't care. They have their own circle of friends, they have their own comfort zones they live, and they're very happy about it.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, Mr. Kunal, for a very candid, honest conversation about your experience, about the journey you had, and a lot of insights, right? I think for someone who is thinking about moving to India, to understand the reality and not to have this expectation which is different than the reality. So really, really appreciate you taking the time and sharing your story with us today.
Thank you, Avinash. I hope it will help. Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Bye.